Paris is best known for romance, culture, and famous buildings such as the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe. However, underneath the bustling streets of the city, there are over 300 kilometers of tunnels located 20 meters underneath the city. It takes over 131 steps to climb down to and access, and attracted over 480,000 people as of 2018. Originally, the tunnels weren't even called the catacombs, but rather the Paris Municipal Ossuary. They were constructed all the way back in 1786, and they only later became known as the catacombs. The word catacombs means a network of subterranean burial grounds and tunnels, so you can see where it got its name. However, despite the catacombs' construction, they only opened up to the public in 1809, some 23 years after they were built. Now, when you hear the word catacombs, your mind may jump to some negative connotations of death, and you may even find the word unsettling. Well, the tunnels weren't built for the sake of building tunnels, but rather to house the remains of over 6 million Parisians from the 18th century. The reason being because, back then, graveyards were often extremely overcrowded, and it meant that bodies couldn't be buried properly. Not only was it a horrible sight to see foul-smelling, decomposing bodies on streets and in graveyards, but the bodies were also hotspots for disease, and it made it easier for viruses and bacteria to spread around the city. So, naturally, in a city which at the time was experiencing rapid growth, they couldn't just leave them out on the streets. So, the underground tunnels were built to house the millions of bodies that had piled up over the years. Today, you are still allowed to visit the catacombs, just like in 1809, but some of the parts are restricted because of safety reasons. If you ever venture into the tunnels, you may see hundreds of skulls and bones lined up along the halls, arranged in different types of patterns, possibly used as a way to lighten up the mood or to attract tourists. Surprisingly, the catacombs were even used in World War II by both the French and the Germans as a way to hide, escape from enemies, and plan attacks. So, it's fair to say the catacombs have quite a bit of history. However, the French catacombs aren't the only tunnel system in Europe, and it isn't the largest tunnel system either. In Odessa, a Ukrainian port city on the north of the Black Sea, there are over 1,200 miles of passages. For a comparison, the French catacombs are only 310 miles. However, the reason for them being so long isn't because they were used for storing bodies or to ease foot traffic on the surface. The tunnels were a product of years of stone mining. Odessa is made out of a yellowish stone with shell fragments called coquina. The tunnels went on for miles, mining up the stone, as well as other rocks such as limestone to be used in the city's construction, as the rocks largely contributed to the city's rapid growth and was used to construct many of the city's buildings. As the city experienced rapid growth in the first half of the 19th century, huge palaces were built for the wealthy settlers and business owners there. So, when there was a demand for so many grand and large buildings, they had to extract stone from underground, which goes some way to explaining how these passages became so immense. Over 100 years of investigation has proven to us that the Ukrainian catacombs will never fully be explored due to the enormous dimensions and blocked or difficult to access passages. It seems the catacombs appeared around the 19th century, coinciding with the time of Odessa's construction, and since then the tunnels only grew from then onwards. One pattern these catacombs seem to have in common with most of the other tunnels is that nearly all of them were used in the time of war. In Odessa, they were used to shelter Soviet soldiers against attacks from the Nazis in the Great Patriotic War, and they were even used as anti-nuclear bunkers during the Cold War, as during the Cold War, Ukraine housed hundreds of nukes. It made sense to repurpose the bunkers as a shelter in case of a catastrophe such as in Chernobyl, some 670 kilometers away. Now, the catacombs in Odessa continue to be useful for the people living there in many ways. It offers locals, historians and tourists a way to look back at the city's history, as there are often markings from decades ago by soldiers and families seeking cover below the surface during a time of war or hiding. It also acts as a huge cellar, able to store whiskey and aging wine. After all, Odessa is known for winemaking, and there was even a wine museum using the catacombs as one of its venues. Odessa's catacombs, just like in the Great Patriotic War, may shelter and aid its inhabitants during the invasion of the country and even protect people from Russian airstrikes and air raids. Just like how the London Underground sheltered the people of London from Nazi bombing raids, Odessa's catacombs have been crucial in protecting civilians from the bombing, and easily spanning over 1,000 kilometres. The catacombs aren't in short supply of space, and luckily, the civilians hiding down there don't have to share it with millions of skeletons as well. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.